Welcome one, welcome all. It's the home opener for Carthage Women's Volleyball, live from Kenosha, Wisconsin. As the visiting Maroons out of the University of Chicago are welcome to Tarble Arena to take on the Firebirds of Carthage College. Hello everybody, alongside my broadcast colleague tonight and all season once again is going to be Jill Ryczek. I'm Peter Ferreri. Jill, two teams undefeated. Somebody's going to come away with a loss. What's the mindset right now saying, hey, we still want to be the undefeated team after tonight?
Yeah, the mindset right now is just obviously don't be the team to lose, because you want to keep that undefeated streak going and you don't want to be the first one with a loss on the record.
One thing to keep in mind for all of you at home, a rule change in women's volleyball this year. Double hit has been taken away, so maybe a few less whistles. Jill, being a former player yourself, how does that kind of open up or free the mindset of the players, knowing that that may not be a call? Seems it may speed up the sport a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just going to be a tougher competition tonight, and with that rule change, it's going to be a little bit more difficult on the court, and you're going to have to really pay attention and be mindful of what you're doing and where you are at all times.
Before we get to the national anthem, of course, coming into today's game, preseason rankings, they had this Maroon squad and the Firebirds ranked right at the top. We spoke with Coach Ulmer about it earlier today. She said, hey, I love being told that because we have such a good returning cast, the seniors, the leadership group, that we are expected to be one of the top teams in the conference. So they went from potentially in years past being the hunter to being the hunted. Both teams coming in again undefeated. The Maroons 4-0, Firebirds 3-0. Carthage coming off victories in as many games against Macalester College, a 3-1 victory. They also won against Hamline 3-0, but a 5-set victory just a few days ago against the University of Dubuque. Coach Ulmer said, I'm excited that not only did we go 5 sets, but we won. Jill, talk to me through the mindset of going the full distance, but coming out with the win versus going the distance and having a crushing loss.
Yeah, I mean, when you're going to 5 sets in a game, not only is that so tiring, but it's so rewarding when you finally come out victorious, and it really sets up that next match that you have, and you have that confidence going into it because you just came from a really, really high adrenaline and long, tiring game, and you were able to come out with the win, so it just really boosts your confidence going into the next one.
As for the Maroons, again, 4-0 on their schedule. They defeated Lawrence University and Loras College 3-0 each. And they came up to Carleton College. That was a 3-2 5-setter victory. And then they welcomed St. Olaf College to the Ratner Athletic Center in Chicago in a 3-1 victory. So both teams really feeling that early season success. One thing as well, we had the discussion with Coach Ulmer about a challenging non-conference schedule, because she said before you know it, it's going to be conference play. Last year we had a grueling non-conference schedule, which helped. What's it like, Jill, to always know you're going to be playing just absolute top-level opponents? And how is that, the cliche, iron sharpens iron? How does it make you better as a player, knowing you're playing against great teams each and every time?
I think they really just kind of set the standards, and the teams that you are going against who are really good, it makes you want to be not only better, but also even better, so you can win against them and just prove to yourself and your team and your coaches just how good you are. And I really just think that it can improve your game, your mentality, your confidence level again when you beat such a good team.
All right, we're going to take a step back. National anthem starting lineups coming your way. Welcome back to the Firebird Broadcasting Network.
Profanity, derogatory comments, or other intimidating actions directed at student athletes, officials, team representatives, or other fans will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from the site of competition. The CCIW has many traditions, but bad behavior isn't one of them. We appreciate your cooperation in creating a safe and positive game environment. Respect, it's the name of the game. Good evening, student athletes, coaches. and Carthage College. At this time, please direct your attention to the American flag at the north end of the arena. It draped over the coffin of Captain Frank Bavrin, a former Carthage student who died in Vietnam in 1970. The flag is a gift to the college from his parents. In remembering Captain Bavrin, we pay tribute to all who have sacrificed their lives for our country and honor those who today put themselves in harm's way in service to America. At this time, we please ask that you rise and able and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem. Starting lineups for tonight's match between the University of Chicago Maroons, who entered the game with an overall record at 4-0, and your Carthage College Firebirds with an overall record of 3-0. First, let's meet the Maroons. A junior standing 5'11", number 1, Dia Mishra. A graduate student standing 5'11", number 2, Keely Kinzora. A sophomore standing 5'9", number 4, Talita Marga. A junior standing 5'5", number 6, Hillary Chung. A senior standing 6'1", number 8, Maggie McInerney. A graduate student standing 6'2", number 16, Amelia Gibbs. The libero for the Maroons is sophomore standing 5'3", number 12, Kennedy Chung. The head coach for the Maroons is Mitchell McPartland. Coach McPartland is assisted by Jennifer Buckman, Tom Guzzi, and Kathleen Brennan. All right, Firebird fans, get fired up. It's showtime.
Welcome back. The home opener, Firebirds Maroons, coming your way live. Jill, talk us through the starting lineup. Right side, outside hitter, the powerhouse, Liv Carroll, starting things off.
Yeah, we'll start off with Liv Carroll. She's an excellent hitter. But really quick, I do have to mention Devin Bell. Unfortunately, we couldn't see it on the broadcast, but her intro was a Love Island reference. So shout out Devin Bell for that cool intro on the video there.
So again, Carthage coming out strong. We've had a conversation, as we stated earlier today, with Coach Ulmer. Said, one of the questions I asked, and I said, you can be honest with Coach, so many returners, so many seniors, such senior leadership. She has a leadership council on her team. It's all the seniors and then somebody at each grade level. I said, with the way the transfer portal is now and opportunities elsewhere, how did you get so many players to stay? And she said, that's the type of people I want to play for me at Carthage. I want people that are dedicate themselves, to this team, to this program, and that's why they're ranked number 2 in the preseason poll, because you have some of the hardest hitters, so many players that could have gotten offers in a lot of different places, chose Carthage, not only chose to come to Carthage, but chose to stay. Jill, that's got to be a good feeling if you're Coach Ulmer to say that I found people that are dedicated to the program and want to stay throughout their whole tenure.
Yeah, absolutely. And for seniors like Liv and Ella, I mean, as a underclassman on a team like that, it's so incredibly great of a feeling to have these upperclassmen that are this talented and this dedicated, because it shows you exactly what you want to be like as well.
Moilovich with the opening serve, and we're underway at Tarble Arena in Kenosha. Hits off the rafters. Bell couldn't quite get to that one in time. First point of the home opener goes to the visiting Maroons. It's got to be hard to play off the ceiling, Jill.
It is, and that just goes down to, knowing where you are on the court at all times, but it's hard to get that, and it's way quicker than it looks.
Maringon had the serve, dives in to the 10-foot line. Quick set over the middle. Bell able to pick up the pieces. Back set, Damon, who's picking up the setting prowess now that the 2-hit rule has been changed. You see a set there, poked over to keep the rally alive. U Chicago setting far side, looking for it. Kenzora able to get down to it, and U Chicago up 2-0 to start things off.
Although she couldn't quite get that last one right there, but in the middle of that set, that was a nice up by Bell to be able to keep that rally going.
Well, that's one changing. You have a service error going to give the Firebirds their first home point. But one thing that Coach spoke about, she goes, look, Jenna Damon is amazing at setting as well, besides being one of the best liberos in the entire CCIW. She said, so the fact that now she can jump in there, it's like having 2 setters on the court at the same time.
Yeah, the more the merrier for that case.
Palmed over, going back to the aforementioned Damon. Bell, back set, Carroll, down, bring up Thunder! Liv Carroll wants it all, and the Thunder rolls, and the lightning strikes Liv Carroll.
Wow, there's a lot of power on that one, Peter.
I tried to tell you, if you watch her online, it does not do justice with how hard Liv Carroll hits the volleyball.
You have to be in person to be able to hear her hand make contact.
Out of play, good pickup by Chung. Back bump on the free ball. Set, far pin, down! Off the left cheek of Chung, and Carthage on a 3-0 run. Again, when Carthage is passed to in a crisp manner, hard to find harder hitters in the CCIW. The Maroons, no slouch in their own right, perennially one of the best teams across their conference as well.
Now serving number 12, Kennedy Chung.
Part of the Midwest Conference. Quick set over the middle. All she needs is one. Katie Boston. I waited all summer. That hit was more than a feeling.
Checking in for the Firebirds, number 18, Tatum Kenosha. And number
That's
3,
a song
Ava
reference, Jill.
Jetline.
No,
Didn't catch
okay.
that
All right.
To serve.
Ask Mom and Dad, say, teach me about Boston. Hop serve, back row. Right on the left clavicle of Jenna Damon. And the Maroons answer back in tight at 4. These are just heavy hitters right now, Joe.
Yeah,
Now
seriously.
serving number 2, Keely Kenzio.
A lot of players for Carthage. Some of the younger players getting some playing time this weekend, nursing some early season nicks and bruises and twists and turns. Block over the middle, and there's that height of the 6'2", Katie Boston. Jill, talk me through this aspect. One thing Coach Ulmer said is she goes, I know Chicago is a tall team. She goes 6s across the boards. We're going to have to be able to combat that with a little bit of finesse and going around the block. Talk me through what it's like hitting around the height of Chicago today.
That is so tough, especially if you are one of the shorter girls competing against girls that are all 6 feet and above. But it's really just the finesse that you have to get around them, and you just have to know where you are over the net to be able to get it in a good spot.
Chicago side bump on the free ball. Back set, no touch. Good job getting out of the way. That was number 10, Grace Zhu for Chicago. Always got to be tough, Jill, when you see it coming right for your forehead and knowing, all right, I got to get out of the way because this is going out of play.
Yeah, that's all spatial awareness right there.
Far pin. Bang. Manojlovic, the sophomore to Niles West. Was Niles West in your conference back in your playing days?
No, it was not.
Okay. I just think in my head, Skokie, north of Chicago, everything's in the same conference. So, serve to the back row. Oh, and that just teardrops in. What? And there's that finesse, Jill.
Perfect
pulling
placement.
Back.
Yep.
How do you kind of aim? It's aim. Is it just A, get around the block, B, don't worry about where it lands? How do you decide where it's going to go?
I think a big part of it is the power level that you have while contacting the ball, so you don't have it go too far out, but it also doesn't fall so short where the team can get it. But I don't think that Chicago was prepared for that to be in.
Chicago backed within 1. Misha into serve. Far side, that one stays in. Misha kind of turned and watched that one fall. Bit of frustration. We talked about, you said it earlier, that spatial awareness.
Yeah.
What's kind of the mindset? Like, do you practice in the gym? Okay, if I'm a few feet up, is it waist up, get out of the way? Is it neck up, shoulder up? How do you kind of plan that?
I think the main thing is you have to not only be looking at the ball, but you also have to glance down on your feet every few seconds to make sure you know where you are, and then you can just gauge about how far you think it'll be until it's out or in.
So in to serve now for the Maroons is Hillary Chung. Chung out of Palo Alto, California. A lot of West Coast players playing for the Maroons. Carroll goes finesse, tries to pull the line, pulls it a bit too far, and tied up at 8. We go. Coming into today, Liv Carroll, 3rd on the team with 30 kills. Quick wall, what a nice one set. Amelia Gibbs, also out of Palo Alto. So former high school teammates.
Yeah, looking at the roster for the University of Chicago, there's only 2 locals from Illinois. Everyone else is mostly California, Kentucky, Texas.
Carroll tries to bring the hammer, able to be picked up by the Maroons. Near side, left hand, tools out of play, and the Maroons extend their lead to 2, tying their biggest lead of the game when they were up 2-0 to start the contest. And a service error giving the point back to Carthage.
Looking at the stats here, Peter, for Chicago, their serving errors are 25 so far coming in today, and then Carthage has only 15. So that's a big thing if you're Chicago. You want to limit the errors as much as possible.
Yeah, that's a great assessment, Jill. That's the difference between sets won and lost. Not necessarily saying that Carthage is playing conservative on the serves as, you know, we jinxed it because
Yeah.
they just had a service error. But my point being, you know, they're so good about the placement, and that's just that leadership that they have year in and year out at the gym. When you look at service aces already, Jenna Damon, 10 service aces, Manojlovic, 9. I mean, we're 3 games into the season, and we already have a player with double-digit aces. Picked up Bell. See, and that's one of the challenges I think that you're going to see with the adjustment of a setter in the back row. You and I kind of talked about it pregame, Jill. When you're used to setting in the front row and bumping in the back, that might be a learning curve for some of the players.
Yeah, a lot of communication needs to take place.
Chicago now extends their lead to 3. We may be close to a timeout, and we will be. So timeout on the court. Chicago leads 13-10 against the home Firebirds. Classes started already, Jill?
Yep.
Here at Carthage? Okay.
Second week.
Second week, so everybody's, you know, in the groove and doing their thing. And, you know, speaking of which, so many upcoming games here at Carthage across the plethora of sports. Football going to be started in just about a week and a half. Soccer already underway on the men's and women's side of things. So much to see if you are a Firebird and CCIW fan. And looking ahead, just enough for the women's volleyball squad. They head out of town this weekend for the Lake Forest tournament. They take on Lake Forest on Friday and then Benedictine on Saturday, before they are back home next Wednesday, a week from today, taking on Concordia University, Wisconsin, right here, Tarble Arena, same bat channel, same bat time. It's another reference you probably have to ask your parents, but that's Batman.
Batman.
Okay, you've heard of Batman?
I've heard of Batman.
Okay, just making sure.
More of a Marvel fan than DC,
Okay,
though.
that's fine, that's fine. Hop serve left hand to get things started after the timeout by Coach Ulmer. Good job of court awareness to keep it alive. Bell can't get under it. They are targeting Bell in that back row right now, Jill. Do you make, I asked the question, do you make an adjustment? Do you try to say, okay, maybe let's give Bell some sliding help in that back row?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if there's too much communication going on down on the court with Carthage right now. They might need to be a little more vocal to be able to help get that ball.
Yeah, you kind of saw Coach Ulmer. Wasn't sure which player she was waving to. Might have been Pettinger, saying, all right, slide back.
Or happy birthday, because it is her birthday today.
Not able to get to it. Kennedy Chung, that's a good thing she only stood 5'3", because if she was 5'4", she might have made contact with that one and point might have gone to the Firebirds. They may be 1 point away from needing their second timeout. All Chicago midway through this first set here in Kenosha. Double block, and that's the spark that the Firebirds needed. Right over the middle. Ella Pettinger. Outstanding job. Pettinger, the middle blocking senior out of Dubuque, Iowa. Near pin, high off the left hand. Damon now sets near side. Liv Carroll keeps that one in. The spin on her fastball. Again, find me a faster one in the CCIW. Hop serve, Damon. Small town of Durand, Illinois. Point again for the Firebirds, and just like that, 3 in a row. What would have been a potential timeout by Coach Ulmer is now all Carthage the past 3 points.
Yeah, I talked with the assistant coach for Carthage, Taylor Vandejute, earlier yesterday, and he said one of the main things that they were focusing on this week is being aggressive with the serves and making it hard for Chicago to make a play off of the serves. So I think that's what's working for them right now and being able to cut this lead a little bit shorter.
Well, we just spoke about how it was 16-10, and if Chicago had gotten to the 17th point, that may need to be a timeout for the Firebirds. It is a 4-0 run by Carthage, including a service ace for Jenna Damon. You were just talking about the aces. Jenna Damon, just to recap, already with 10 service aces in the season, up to 11.
Leading the team, yeah.
Talk to me through, what is it like giving that float serve? How do you receive that dangerous float serve that Jenna Damon gives?
I think you just have to be ready for it, and you have to be watching through the net or under the net to see where that serve is coming from, because you can be anywhere on the court, and you just have to stay low, and you just have to be laser focused and ready for it to come to you.
16-14 your score. Back and forth battle of the first 10 points. Then it was a little U Chicago run. Now it's a Firebird run with Jenna Damon. Again, as I stated earlier, one of the many players on the court today that probably with her skill set could play at any level she wants. Made the commitment to Carthage and is already on the leadership council. U Chicago gets that coach's point, back up by 3. It seems whether it's far pin or near pin right now, Jill, Carthage is really doing a good job getting the tool. Set serve, Damon with the side bump. Over the middle, good dig, trying to run it down, able to do so successfully is Chung. 2 Firebirds run into each other. Carroll down, Carroll kill. When in doubt, feed Liv Carroll, and she will deliver the crushing blow.
Absolutely, that's why she's leading the team.
So in checks Tatum Kebasek. With that double rotation, going to be in for setting purposes now. Kebasek with the orange and white shoes, decoy. Set far side. Oh, found the open gap. Keely Canziora out of Lake Forest and Loyola Academy, transfer from Colorado College. Absolutely finds the gap. Welcome to the campfire. A service error. Firebirds get a gimme point. That's a few gimme points, whether it's the service error into the net or serving too far, that Carthage has been more than happy to accept.
Yeah, that was a smart play there by Jenna Damon. She, if you could see, she was just following the ball until she knew for sure it was out and just talking the entire time.
Cassidy Stahl, the junior out of Campbellsport, Wisconsin, with the service ace. How about that? Coming in as a serve specialist and delivering on your first serve of the afternoon, or I should say evening. It's nighttime, Jill. It's nighttime.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for both these teams is just to work on serving and figure it out.
Back-to-back aces for Stahl. She had 6 aces coming in, already up to 8 now with back-to-back. It is not often you see back-to-back.
No, and that's exactly what the assistant coach Taylor was talking about yesterday. He was saying as long as we can be aggressive and get our serves and serving aces, then we'll be just fine.
Pull out the roof for Katie Boston. The pride of St. Louis from the dirty South. Carthage up by 1, a 9-2 run. Couldn't quite get another ace. Tied at 19 apiece, but still a 9-3 run for Carthage. That's the resolve that Coach Almer said she has in this team this year. Breaking through to the other side. A huge kill by Detweiler, the freshman out of La Crosse, Wisconsin, and that's one of the key freshmen that Coach Almer recruited, and look at the impact she's already having.
Yeah, absolutely. She looks like a great player so far.
Substitution, Boston checks out. In comes Kyla Mateague out of Maplewood, Minnesota. High set to the near side. Kebasek can't get under it. And tied back at 20. You know, we had somebody pregame tell us, don't be surprised if this goes 5.
Yep.
If it's anything like we've seen so far in this first set, I could agree.
Me as well.
Dia Mishra now. Elongated windup. The decoy out of play. And just like that, one of the kill leaders for the Firebirds steps up again.
Yep.
Carthage up by 1.
Yeah, she's a great hitter. Not only does she lead the team with kills, but she also made St. Paul's all-tournament team this weekend.
Pass to the left side. Damon tries to get the right arm up in time. Not able to do so. Tied at 21 apiece now. Back and forth battle. You had a feeling, like we stated, when it was 16-10 for UChicago, they may run away with set number 1. Carthage battling back and now trying to keep up. Block back Carroll, undercut with the left hand.
Way to stay with it.
Bit of out of system for Carthage. Carroll blocking back, all Carroll on that far pin. That one falls on the near side. UChicago 3 away from set 1 victory. So Carthage taking the timeout. Talk me through the timeout. You're only down 1 right now, Jill, but still you have you have the 2 timeouts. Is this a circumstance where, hey, let's just use it now and set up the next few points?
Yeah, I think it was just to kind of settle down a little bit, just because they came back from such a deficit and they were just hitting really aggressively, and they got a few blocks in. But then they started to maybe lose their footing for a play there, so she just wants to calm them down and just regroup and try to get these next 4 points.
And we appreciate you being with us. The Maroons leading 22-21. Looking at some of the numbers that got us to this point. Manojlovic and Carroll each with 3 kills apiece. On the side of UChicago is Marnagon with 4 and Mishra with 4. So a pretty diversified attack by both teams. A inside-out approach. UChicago 3 away from set 1 victory. Carthage hoping to get the coach's point. Not the case there. UChicago, a huge point right out of the gate, right out of the timeout. Getting the call now is Chung. The 5'5" junior, 2 hops, sends it to Damon, able to adjust. Out of system, Damon dives forward, can't get to it alongside Cassidy Stahl, and just like that, we are at set 1 point for the Maroons. Set far side. Can the Firebirds battle back? Damon can't get to it. The lethal lefty swing of Talita Marnagon. And just like that, 25-21, what a run to end the first set. Can the Firebirds rebound in set number 2, or will UChicago go up 2-0? We'll find out when we come back on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. Welcome back. University of Chicago leads 1-0 against the home Firebirds. They've switched sides. Welcome in Jill Ryczek alongside yours truly, Peter Ferreri. We appreciate you being with us this Wednesday evening in Kenosha, and U Chicago picks up right where they left off, Jill, getting the opening point.
Yeah, I think for the first set, the way University of Chicago was able to pull off that win is just that they took a few more attack attempts and they were able to come away with that attack point as well. They went for 28 and Carthage only went for 24, and as for kills, Chicago had 15 and Carthage only with 10. So I think if you're Carthage, you just want to be a little bit more aggressive and try to attack more.
Up serve, that one goes out of play. It's going to be a fun thing to talk about at some point when this game concludes, is how many errors from the service line does U Chicago have, and how much of an impact is it going to have on the outcome of the game? Because right now, they weathered the storm, Jill, in set number one. Plenty of service errors, but still were victorious. Not able to retrieve it there. 2-2 your score.
Yeah, and as for serving, they actually had the same amount of service errors, tied with 3 for that first game. But Carthage had 4 aces, and Chicago only had 3, so it just looked as if Carthage was serving a bit better.
Poked over with the left hand. Back set for Carroll. Able to get to it in time is Chung. Bell picking up the pieces, near side, back set. Down and kill. U Chicago.
That was perfect spot to land there. You asked earlier, how do you get past those tall blocks, and she literally went right through them. So that was perfect placement for her.
Left hand, back row. Massive kill over the middle. Katie Boston. She is delivering in that middle block position. We spoke about how Ajabola graduated last year from this program. Who is going to step up this year? Katie Boston had a great junior campaign. Again, picking up where she left off. Chung set far side. Poked up, not able to get to it in time, is Kabasek. So Bell has subbed out for Kabasek, one of the other setters, I should say. Back to serve now is Kennedy Chung. Chung, 6 service aces coming into today's game. Off the tip, Damon picks it up. Double block again, nice dig by Damon. Couldn't get there 3 times in a row. That one stays in. U Chicago up by 2. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that was a smart play by Chicago to just keep firing and not try to take those 3 touches to set up a play and give Carthage the time to spread out in the court.
Another service error for U Chicago. 2 out of the 4 points for the Firebirds this second set, Jill, have come the way of a service error. Let me ask you this, in your playing career, does there ever come a point where coach says, all right, let's switch things up, that's a bit too many, or is it usually, hey, stay aggressive?
A bit too many serving aces?
Or errors.
Or errors. Yeah, I guess you just got to feel that one out. I mean, if you just keep coming away with aces, never switch, never change players, just keep the rhythm going.
Another Chicago point. They're really taking advantage of that back near side corner right in front of one of the line judges. Set over the middle, able to deliver Katie Boston. It's the Boston show in set number 2. Carthage back to within 1. Have you ever been to Boston?
I've not been to Boston.
No. I've driven through Boston. Probably stopped for gas in Boston. Back set on the slide. Playable for the Firebirds. Oh, coiled through and delivered. Boom shakalaka for number 5, Emma Lotz out of Los Angeles, California. Serving now, Maggie McInerney. That breaks through in its own right. Right now it's blow for blow. No team has really shown an advantage in this second set.
Yeah. Just going back and forth, just like the first set, so I wonder which team will be able to pull away and sort of get the momentum going.
Kebasek, the setting junior out of Brookfield Central. Bell with the directional set over the net. Chung near side. Nice up by Damon. Hits the rafters, but it fell on the opposing side, so that is one thing to take note. You can't necessarily see it in this vantage point from the camera angle. However, if it hits the ceiling and falls back on your side, playable. If it hits the ceiling and goes in the other way,
yep,
that is the opposing team point. So now out of Seattle, Washington, Dia Meshra. Having a solid evening so far. From the 10-foot line, Bell picks it up. Damon couldn't get the hands up in time. Another point for the Maroons. We may be close to a timeout.
Yeah, I think that'd be the smart play here.
Once again, Mishra. Carroll. Bell back to Carroll. Off the double, side swing, McInerney to keep it alive. Carthage, tough battle on that one. Well-earned point. It's got to be tough, though, Jill, because if you're U Chicago, you know they're going to try to set Liv Carroll as much as they can. So if you're Carthage, you can't always go to Carroll even though you want to.
Yeah, that's why you got to really trust your roster and be able to switch some plays around and use some different playmakers.
Carthage back to within one. Manojlovic to serve. Sometimes it's better to be lucky, and that was the case there over the middle with Amelia Gibbs. Hit it right into the tape, Jill, but the tape kind of bent it and just fell on the side of the Firebirds. Chung serves. Second play in the rafters this set. Oh, just a free ball opportunity. Katie Rowe out of Shepherd High School in Palos Heights, just rowing down the river.
Good one.
Thank you, thank you. I've had all summer to practice a few, you know.
There you go.
Jenna Damon. Back set on the slide. Bell picked it up. Damon far side for Carroll. Carroll over the top. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Carroll again. And just like that, we said it is same thing in the first set as in the second set, being that we might have been 1 point away from a Carthage timeout. Bit of a rally for the Firebirds to tie it up at 10. Katie Boston with the roof right over the middle. For all of your roofing needs, call Boston and Associates. Carthage with a lead. Dump, Bell, uppercut still alive. What a play. Bell running up from the 10-foot line. Carroll directional set. And they're going to say 4 hits. I am personally not quite sure, Jill, where that came in.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw that one either.
I think the coaching staff for both teams. I thought it might have been a lift or a double hit called.
I was thinking a double too.
Because you saw Carroll set it over. All right, nonetheless, stays. That'll be something scoped out in postgame, I'm sure. No reviews at the D3 level. And usually I say there's a gimme point right back, and Chicago gives the point right back.
Yep. All right, I think if you're Carthage, you just want to keep your serving smart, and you want to keep the momentum going to be able to pull away and start to get some kind of a lead so you can end that back and forth.
Explain that to me, Jill, smart serving.
I think it's just not trying to have the most powerful serve you've ever served so you can make it hard to return, but you have to get it over the net and just keep it nice and simple so it doesn't go out or into the net.
The crowd on their feet for Katie Rowe and Katie Boston. The Killer K's have the Firebirds up by 2. Trying to swing through, and the height. Not much you could do, and you can't teach it. The 6'2" Amelia Gibbs, a presence in the middle. Serving now, the libero Chung. Nice dig by Chung at the 10-foot line, but sends that into the net. Another point for the Firebirds. That's got to be tough, too, if you're Chung. You're at the 10-foot line, and your body momentum, you're kind of leaning back to retreat. It drops in front of you. You saw she was quick enough to sweep her feet out from underneath her, but couldn't quite get the hands underneath enough.
Yeah, that's tough. That's why you just really got to be moving quick and know where you are.
And Chicago gets the point. Back to within 1. Again, set 1 ended 25-21. Out of play, another service error for Chicago. It's a lot of service errors.
Yeah, that's one of the main things that hurt them, even though they came away with the win for that first set, but you got to be able to fix those.
Set to the far pin. Still in play. Good retrieval by the Firebirds. Double block right over the middle. The Maroons were flat-footed. And Chicago needs a timeout, Jill, their first timeout of the evening.
Yeah, those are some great blocks there to be able to force them into get a timeout. I think now that they're down by 3, they just want to regroup and just give them the momentum that they had in that first set to be able to try and win this one as well.
Looking at our upcoming schedule, Jill, talk us through what Firebirds have in front of them.
Well, we have women's soccer versus DePaul, 7 p.m. Friday, September 6th. Sunday, September 8th at 1 p.m. we have women's soccer versus Bethel. Wednesday, September 11th, 7 p.m. women's volleyball versus Concordia, Wisconsin. And Saturday, September 14th at 4 p.m. men's soccer versus St. Norbert.
Chicago forced to use a timeout, and it's one thing, that we were looking at when you look at where these teams are in terms of service errors. Only 4 total service errors for Carthage, 7 for Chicago. It seems like more, but it's because multiple players have 2 apiece.
Yeah.
And that's the difference in this set.
Yeah, and again, coming into this game tonight, Chicago had 25 errors for serving so far this season to Carthage's 15. So that's something that they need to work on to improve for this season.
And just like that, Chicago getting the coach's point. Exactly what you want to see if you're a Maroon fan. Still down by 2, but slowly and surely this is the opportunity to come back. Let's see what they could do. And that is a rare miscommunication for the Firebirds. It's not often where it's that level of disconnect on the pass.
Yeah, I couldn't quite see it. Was it just a drop or?
No, it was Manojlovic was coming in for a one set, but it was set over her head.
Oh, okay.
So, miscommunication, setter, hitter. Nice poke by Kevasek. Damon. Tip back in, sliding down. Able to break through on the far side. Once again, Marngan. Sent to the near side. Double block, tool out of play. Manojlovic gets the tool kill. A little bit of help there for the Firebirds. So Bell checks in for the serve. Let's see if they can light the fire with Liv Carroll again. Offensively, just like that, Chicago has tied it up 17 apiece.
I mean, I'd say both teams are playing equally well right now. I think it's just that Chicago is being a little bit more aggressive and taking more attacks and really just hitting hard and getting those kills.
Liv Carroll, signed, sealed, and delivered. Again, if you don't block that at the net, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Pass to the far side. Marngan likely to get the point. As back to serve is McInerney. Actually, Hillary Chung to serve. Tied at 18. Liv Carroll.
Woo!
You can't stop her. You can only hope to contain the power that she provides. I mean, what do you do defensively against that? If it, like I know I said it, 90 seconds ago, if it gets past that block, it's hard to stop.
I mean, if it were me trying to return that, I'd probably just dodge out of the way.
Yeah.
But, I mean.
Hope it goes out.
Yeah. I just wouldn't want to be hit with it. But for Chicago, I think you just got to communicate within your teammates, and someone's got to be able to get that.
Damon with the jump set. Bell undercuts it. Double block over the middle. Who else? Katie, Boston. The fans are on their feet in Tarble. Firebirds back up by 2. And the lethal lefty delivers yet again to Lita Marngan. It's got to be so hard when you're, somebody with a different hand comes in, the lefty, just from a different angle, different spin on the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're the returning team, you really got to take that into account and just think how you can be able to return that differently.
And there is the timeout. Tied at 20 apiece. Surprised that Coach Ulmer takes a timeout at a tied position, or?
I don't think so, just because if I'm Carthage, I really want to win this set specifically because if you are Chicago and you have 2 sets under your belt, nothing's stopping you from getting the third one and taking it home.
Let's take a look at where that CCIW preseason poll, Carthage right near the top.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm not surprised. I mean, even last year, they were a little, off here and there, but coming in this year, I think they're a lot more secure and going to be a better team than last year.
Yeah, and Coach Ulmer knows that too. When we spoke to her, she goes, I know the expectations are much higher than they were last year at this point. She goes, and I appreciate that. And that says something. It is her 24th year as head coach. So she has been coaching longer than you've been on this beautiful earth. 611 and 200 record, a 753 winning percentage.
Jeez.
And she's already added 3 more to that.
I mean, as a player, that's the kind of coach that you want, because you want that seasoned coach who just knows what they're talking about, and you can give all of your trust to them, and they know how to play volleyball.
Kebisek in to serve. Appreciate you joining us this Wednesday evening on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. Peter Ferreri. Alongside me is Jill Ryczek. Breaking through the double block. Good play again. McInerney. We haven't said her name a lot out of St. Teresa's Academy in Kansas City. But McInerney making her presence felt when she gets in. Service error yet again for UChicago. And that's the situation. If you're Carthage, you're up by 1 now. You want to be able to take advantage of every time the serve's back in your favor because of an error on the UChicago side.
Serving errors are so tough, especially because you can practice serving during practice as much as you want, and it'll go over and you think you're all good, but you don't take into accountability the noise, the being away from practice and just being on a court and feeling pressure. Like it's completely different than just practice serving.
Nice back set, ISO 1-on-1. UChicago, longest rally of the evening, trying to do a self-preservation to no avail. We're the Firebirds, and we're tied up at 22. Ava Detweiler, the freshman. Again, and that's just so tough, Joe, when it's, kind of chin level. You want to step back and set it. Can you get your hands up high enough in time?
Yeah.
And Barbarossa, the junior out of Archbishop Mitty High School from Saratoga, California. Another service error. I'm not saying right now that's the Achilles heel of UChicago. Can the Firebirds set up on the free ball? High up, Kebisek, back set. Pass near pin. Block converges. Back set again. 2 Maroons go for it. Over the middle, no touch. Mishra sent it a bit too far. Timeout for the Maroons. Smart timeout, because right now you got one left. Can you force Carthage to make some mistakes? Again, if you're UChicago, and I'm not trying to, beat a dead topic right now, you are up to 10 service errors, Jill. That's a lot. Now, I have heard countless coaches say, regardless of what happens, you tell them just keep swinging, just keep swinging. Do you still say that? You're up to 10 halfway through? You're not halfway through, I should say, almost done with the second set. You're averaging 5 service errors a set right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, the game point is definitely tough for both sides, because if you're on the winning side of that, you want to just get that last point and get it over with. But if you're on the other team, you don't want to be the one to make the mistake and cost that point the game.
Boston, set 2 point. That stays in. Nice set by the Maroons, one away from sending it to extras. McInerney. Back set. Nice pickup by Chung. Side bump on the free ball, setting up the Firebird attack. Damon What an uppercut. Oh, nobody could get to it for the Firebirds. What a long rally, and U Chicago has forced extra points in set number 2.
That was a tough one to watch.
It's exactly, Jill, what we talked about in that timeout by U Chicago. A, you have the timeout, use it. B, can you force the mistakes of Carthage? They didn't make mistakes. That set, those past 2 points just favored U Chicago.
Yeah, that rally one was tough, though. I mean, you just got to be able to communicate that, and the last thing you want is to let that ball hit the court, and you can't make a play off it and get that point.
I mean, give credit where it's due. The hustle by the Firebirds to continually make that rally go.
I thought that one was going into the crowd.
Wow. I mean, I thought at first, just based on our vantage point where we're up here in the broadcast booth in the perch, you know, it looked like it might have been hit a speaker. It cleared the speaker.
Yeah.
She fell into the stand. So, but again, no point for hustle, point for delivery. And right now we're tied at 24.
Yep. Carthage and Chicago, the last thing you want to do is mess up on the serve.
Damon set to the near side. Back row, Chung underneath it again. The back row has been absolutely stellar these past 2 points. Back row, too far. R2 calling the touch. Carthage back to set point. Just out of play. Maroons have new life. What a second set, Jill.
Yeah, this one is more stressful than the first one. I thought the first one was going back to back and super close.
Hop serve. Martinez, who's checked into the game for the Maroons. Uppercut, roof, down, kill. Just didn't feel good for the Maroons on that rally. Carthage takes advantage. Manojlovic, the sophomore, the pride of Skokie. Can she deliver? Lefty down, double block, high up in the air. Playable, 10-foot line. Left hand over by Kebasek. Damon, 10-foot line. What long rallies on these set points. Blocked back. Amelia Gibbs says no thank you. Again, the height, you can't teach it. We've said it before, and if you go right at her, it's not going to go in your favor.
No.
Back set, 10-foot line, Manojlovic. Directional set. Set to Manojlovic again, floats in from the 10-foot line. Just kisses the back row. Carthage at set point again. The best serve specialist, Jill, for the Firebirds is back at the line.
That's who you want if you're Carthage right now.
Left hand. Manojlovic sends it out of play. They thought there was a touch, was not called. We play on. That was close.
As close as this game has been all set.
Free ball, Manojlovic just has to send it over. Can the Maroons take advantage? Block down Boston once, twice. Back up by Kebasek. Damon sets near side now. Flat-footed back row. Back set in. Maroons, their first match their first set point of this second set. They've tied it multiple times. If you're Marengon, you don't want a service error.
No.
You don't get it. Out of play. And Chicago comes back in set number 2, forces multiple set points, and comes away victorious 29-27. Can Coach Ulmer and the Firebirds regroup on the home opener and send it to set 4, or will the visiting Maroons find the sweep? We'll find out when we come back on the Firebird Broadcasting Network.
My favorite part of the sports management program so far has just been they're getting us in front of these people who actually work in the professions already.
This is a very project-based program, a very experiential learning-based program where students have a lot of opportunities to engage not only in the classroom but also outside of the classroom.
First semester we met with people from the Wild marketing department who evaluated and scored one of our final projects. In one of our media and relations classes, we were dealing with the Milwaukee Bucks. One of the classes we're in this semester, we're going to do something with the Chicago Bulls.
The end of the capstone is we're going to Barcelona, and it'll be, real world application. We're going, and it's a real company that we are consulting for. The goal is to help them be the best business in the sports world that they can be. And I think there's kind of nothing like it, right? It's really difficult to find something like that.
The experiential learning, it gives you that real life experience where you get put into situations that you might have to face in your career. It definitely gets the creative juices flowing, and it motivates you as a student and pushes you to be the very best.
The teaching philosophy of the sports management here at Carthage is that we really want students to think about sport not only from the traditional sense of sport management and sports business, but also think about what is next in sport. So that's where we really incorporate the ideas of innovation and creativity.
I think the program helps with my creativity and innovation just by challenging myself constantly, not only with getting different perspectives from classmates and professors, but also just challenging what your norm is and thinking not only outside of the box, but completely breaking and shattering that box.
We have so many professional connections for many organizations such as the Minnesota Wild, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Milwaukee Admirals, Chicago Wolves, amongst others. These are very special real-world connections and relations.
Welcome back to the Firebird Broadcasting Network. For Jill Ryczek, I'm Peter Ferreri. Jill, talk us through. Oh, you're dancing. Oh, by all means. I thought you wanted to talk about stats, but.
Well, while they're on the screen, let's talk about them. Chicago with 34 kills to Carthage's 22. I think that's one of the main things that has been able to help Chicago winning these two first sets is just how aggressive they're being, and they just keep coming out and swinging. And I think that's what's working for them.
Rough over the top, and that's the way you want to start if you're Carthage. Let's talk about the mentality. Jill, again, you've been, in these type of situations before. A former player yourself, you're down. You absolutely could have had set number 2. Set 1, didn't necessarily go your way most of the way. You found your way back in that one. What do you have to do to, calm the nerves, get the troops back together, and come away with this set? Because right now it's a set at a time.
I think, let's start with Carthage. If you're Carthage, just really talk amongst yourself on the court, know where you are, make smart plays, and don't let your nerves get to you and act crazy and, try to make these super crazy plays. But if you're Chicago, I think, any team that's won 2 sets out of 3 so far, you kind of have the confidence, and you might seem to kind of slack off a little, not slack off, but you have 2 sets already, so you're not playing your most physical, and you are just in the rhythm, so you just don't want your opposing team to get you out of that rhythm.
That's going to be a lift. So violation there. UChicago. So Carthage gets the first point. UChicago's rattled off 3. This is where the resolve is tested. Part of your brain says, okay, well, it's non-conference, but the other part says this has huge ramifications in the postseason potentially. If you're looking for an at-large bid, UChicago's right down the road. They're 2 hours due south.
Yep.
They're going to be fighting for some similar positioning.
Yeah.
And with that being said, we've seen it with other teams, Jill, and other sports here at Carthage. How do you, it's not only you don't want to get swept by UChicago, but it said, okay, let's say they take it to 5. All right, we lost in 5 sets. We came from behind. We pushed them to the limit. Or we came back and won. We had the reverse sweep and won in 5. That says something. But to get swept at home, it's just not as good of a look, but there's still plenty of time to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just looking at last year for Carthage, oddly enough, they were 4-4 at home and actually had a better record away, not playing at home. They were 8-5. So maybe just the home court advantage isn't all there for Carthage right now. But looking at their last matchup, that was October 6th of 2022. Carthage actually won the first 2 sets, and they played all the way to 5. So Carthage won the first 2, and then it went to Chicago, and then Chicago actually finished winning. So it was kind of reversed here, and I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to 5 tonight, as long as Carthage can side out and win this one.
Through the double. That's how you want to see it right now. Katie Rowe, with Liv Carroll out of rotation right now on the bench, this is where you need to see that rotation of people stepping up. Katie Boston's in the middle, and she is a presence. And I will say this, and again, agree or disagree, the height advantage for Chicago has been present, but it hasn't been the difference in the game.
No, yeah, I would agree with that. Because even though Chicago has the higher height depth of the roster, Carthage has been able to get more blocks and get up there higher, or more often at least.
Up serve Damon back row, picked up by Chung, libero. Damon can't get to that one. And I always like to say with a player like Damon, if she can't get to it, not many people could. The anticipation. That's that quick 1 set that you've seen today. From Bell, chicken wing, Damon running it down. Manojlovic, back bump, rally still alive. Quick one over the middle. Huge delivery by Mishra.
I think that last play just kind of got away from Carthage there. I mean, they made that quick run to go get that ball, but they just weren't able to set up quick enough for the next play.
Point Carthage. Just like that, 6-6. Like we've said, minus the conclusion of set one, Carthage has had every opportunity. A big part is taking advantage of the mistakes that UChicago has made. On the flip side, the fact that UChicago up 2-0 with all the mistakes they made, that's got to give Chicago a little bit of confidence. Like, wow, even though we're,
Making mistakes,
over, double digits in service errors, and we're still up by a point, up 2-0. That's big. Set to the far pin. And that's going to be 4 hits. So Carthage kept it up at one point, couldn't quite finish the job. That's where you find out a lot about your team. Down 2 points, down 2 sets. Back set, mishandle on the pass. UChicago, slide, tool, kill. Maroons up by 3. Out of play. Good communication by Carthage. And again, it's not that, again, if you're just joining us, first off, welcome. Second off, if you look at the score, Carthage hasn't played a bad game. They haven't played a sloppy game. They haven't played a poor game. It's a point here, a point there.
Yeah. Yeah, there has yet to be a crazy point differential where one team is just dominating the other.
There's that nice power set we see from Cassidy Stahl. There's Katie Boston delivering. Sees Katie Boston Fathead in the crowd. If anybody's listening, you got to make a Jill Ryczek Fathead, so like during timeouts they can cheer you on.
Oh yeah, totally. Or Peter, what would be nice?
Oh, nice job on the service ace. Cassidy Stahl. The way that knuckleball just floats and then drops, it's so hard to retrieve. Back set for Carroll. Point's going to go to the Maroons. I don't know if that made contact. Might have just hit the tape and fallen, but nonetheless. Manojlovic ducks out of the way just at the last moment. And again, that shows a well-coached team. There has not been once this evening where Carthage has made the wrong decision, Jill, about in versus out.
Yeah.
Poking up, Carroll, poked over. Boston can't get to it in the back row. And see, that's what's a challenge, too, is when your middle blocker is on an island in the back row by themselves. Easier said than done to get down for that.
Yeah, I think as for Chicago so far, although they've had 13 service errors, they've been able to make up for it by having 97 total attacks and just keep swinging and just getting those points from those attacks.
Chicago extends that lead slightly back up to 2. Excellent job today while we have a moment with the officials. Tim McKinnon, your R1, and Christian Krizik, your R2. Excellent referees. I have worked with Christian many years, so when I saw him on the crew walking in today, it's like, all right, I know I'm going to have a stellar.
Yeah, there hasn't been too many plays that have been talked over throughout the night.
And that's what you want. You want such a clean crew, you don't even know they're there. So Carroll checks out. Bell checking in. You know, that's one thing Coach Ulmer said as well, and you could talk me through that, Jill, is she said the challenge this weekend so far, because of some of the injuries she had, and you still see some players not suited up, she goes, I just don't want to run out of subs.
Yeah, that's tough because, you know, playing 3, 4, 5 sets, it gets tiring, and you want to be able to take the break and have the opportunity to.
U Chicago hitting at a .316 attack percentage. What a stellar number. 7-3, the ace differential, so that, of course, has favored Carthage. Picked up Bell. Back row, right in position. There's McInerney. You know, that's something if you're looking on the optimistic side, if you're a U Chicago fan. You have double-digit service errors. You're still up by 2 points and 2 sets. You take half those numbers away, it'd be an even bigger victory right now.
Oh, yeah.
Or bigger lead, I should even say. Katie Rowe, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think that Chicago knows where Carthage isn't on the court right now, and they just keep aiming for those spots, and it's getting them the point every time.
Knocked over the middle, Boston, playable for the Maroons. Damon sends that one out of play. We may have a timeout soon for Coach Ulmer. Isn't going to take it now. Usually gets to that 3 or 4 point is when she takes it. But we have seen stylistically, she is one that doesn't let that lead get too far. Nips it in the bud right away. Stop me if you heard it. Service error, Maroons. But again, on the optimistic side for the Maroons, it does not phase them, Joe.
No, yeah.
Detweiler, service error. Carthage also leading in the blocks category, 8-4. If you would have told me U Chicago was leading in the blocks category, 8-4, okay, I believe you.
Yeah.
So the fact that we've said it already, the height advantage of Chicago has not exploited their advantage by any point. Carroll down, Carroll kill, get hype. Firebirds back to within 1. I will say as well, when the serves are not in errors, U Chicago has such solid serves that it doesn't necessarily allow the passing to be as crisp for the Firebirds to get where it needs to go. That stays in, kisses the back row. Cassidy Stahl can't get there. McInerney. Floats it to Damon, far side. Can the Firebirds respond? Poked over. Back set. Bam! Liv Carroll with the howitzer. Firebirds back to within 1. Blocked back, Chung can't get there. Oh, nice job on the far side, Manojlovic. Hasn't had as loud of a contest as we may have thought she would have. Been a very diversified attack, but Manojlovic really showing her presence there.
Yeah, she's tied with Liv Carroll right now for 8 total attacks.
Coming into today, leading the team with 40 kills. Firebirds back up by 1. that stays in. Again, you kind of see Coach Ulmer saying, hey, slide over a bit.
Yeah.
Not to Boston per se, but, you know, to that front row.
Again, that was just perfect placement all the way deep back there where no one was for Carthage.
Dia Mishra. Service error. What's been happening these past few service errors, I look over to the coaches for UChicago, unfazed. They're not reacting, and I think that shows that vote of confidence they have in their team that, you know, if you overreact as the coaches, that can knock the confidence of your players, and they haven't done it at all.
Absolutely.
Mitchell McPartland, Jennifer Buckman, Tom Guzzi, Kathleen Brennan. So Carthage up by 2. Head coach McPartland needing to call a timeout. And that was more so a situation we saw where I think at that point would have landed. UChicago kind of wanted it to go in their favor, but it hit the, hit the line judge, and that's out. Carthage leading 20-18, set number 3. UChicago fought back in set 2, 29-27. Looking down the road for upcoming games for this Carthage Firebird squad. Again, when we look at after today, heading to Lake Forest to take on the Foresters and Benedictine. Then they are back home next Wednesday, September the 11th. Before welcoming September the 18th, Carroll University, and that's already the start of conference play.
Wow.
So you and I are going to see each other every Wednesday, Jill. I think so, where there's also going to be some Fridays into Saturdays and then Mondays. So.
All right.
Oh, what a roof. Mishandled by Marangon. Couldn't handle that attack, passed it over the net. Beautiful awareness. Carthage up 21-18. Chicago gets a rare gimme on their front. Now, if you look at the rotation, Jill, something I want to really point out. Number 16, Amelia Gibbs, right back in her prime position.
Okay.
And she is who helped close the gap in set number 2. Bell with the left-hand uppercut, free ball, Damon. Back set. Damon can't get to it. UChicago within 1. Serving Hillary Chung. Out of play.
That's now the 17th service error for Chicago.
I was going to say, hits off the tape, playable. We'll get to more on that comment in a moment. Slide attack, down kill. I just said keep your eye on Amelia Gibbs. She delivers.
This is kind of what we've been saying all night. I mean, even though they just got a service error, they made that point right back with a kill, and that's what they've been doing all night.
And if you're the Firebirds, you want to get back into this one. Misplay, Damon. That might be a timeout needed by Coach Ulmer. Let's see if it's taken or not. It's not.
Maybe next point.
It is.
Okay.
I think she thought about it. I think she looked up at the looked up at the scoreboard, looked at her team, back at the scoreboard, and said, "Let me use that timeout."
Yeah, I think that's smart. I mean, this is now the third time that pretty much this exact same scenario has happened, where they're tied right down to the 25-point mark, and they just want to be able to settle their team now.
UChicago still hitting .321, Carthage at 168. That's 17 service aces. What I was going to say, Jill, is you expect that in the men's game, because everything's, power serve, power serve. You don't expect it that much in the women's game.
Yeah.
But I want to give credit one more time, not only to the U Chicago players for keeping the result, but the coaching staff for not making that much or that big of a deal. You have 2 undefeated teams here today.
Yeah.
And Carthage is used to winning, and they're used to handling these type of situations. So Carthage has taken advantage of the service errors. They just haven't been able to string together enough points. We're still tied, but we were tied late in set 1, and we had to go to 29 points in set number 2. Back set Bell. Damon keeps it alive. Bell again. Goes to the well. Too far. No touch. Carthage thought they got a touch. It didn't happen. U Chicago 2 points away from the road sweep.
I could bet you, Peter, that the only thing going through your mind right now is do not get a serving error right now.
She did not. 10-foot line, back row Chung. Uppercut Bell, she has been all over the court. Damon pulling away. Quick one set off the hands of Bell, outstretched arms. We are at match point. Want to remind everybody, stick around the post-game show. Coach Ulmer will join us up in the booth, share some comments on this exciting home opener non-conference matchup, the battle of 2 undefeateds. And right now, Marangon
Just hit
service,
the tape.
ace. And just like that, the serve is how this contest ends. 25-22. Jill, before we send it to break, thoughts on this contest? What an effort by U Chicago, never lost their composure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the number one things you need to have as a team that is resilient. And although you have those 17 service errors, and Carthage barely had any, you came back and just kept swinging, and you got those kills after kills. Chicago ended with 50 kills tonight, and Carthage only ended with 31. So that's really, you can just see in those numbers why Carthage fell short, unfortunately, and Chicago was able to come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, but again, Coach Ulmer and the team, as we stated early on in this third set, even though they were down, look at the excitement by U Chicago's coaching staff, but even though Carthage was down multiple times in each set, took it to the limit in all 3 sets. They were not out of it, just couldn't quite close things up at the end. We'll talk with Coach Ulmer and more about that post-game show. We'll come back on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. And welcome into the post-game show here on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. Alongside Jill Ryczek, I'm Peter Ferreri. Coach, let's look at the positives. You outblocked them, you outserved them, you outhit them in many aspects of the game. Result didn't quite turn out like you wanted. We knew it was going to be a battle. You took them to the distance in set number 2. What are the positives you could take away from tonight's game?
I'm super proud of them. Chicago's a very mature team.
Yeah.
You know, they have fifth years, they have seniors, they have hitters all over the place.
Yeah.
Number 4 had a great night. She's a handful. 16 in the middle. So they just have a lot of really, really good players. But I thought, like you said, we did what we wanted to do in that term. We weren't mentally tough enough in those last 3 points in each of the sets. Set 2, we were 24-22, and we let them come back. You just got to make plays. You just got to finish things. You can't let teams like that hang around.
Yeah.
And once again, every set, we're right there. Then they got those last 2 or 3 points to finish. So that's some senior leadership on their part. That's just some confidence. My freshman Ava was amazing tonight.
Yeah.
She's a freshman. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it is.
She's setting. She's hitting. We haven't had a setter hitter in a long time. The last one was an All-American, Kelly Bauer, back a long time ago. So we're asking a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of a freshman, and she did a really, really good job. So, I told her to just keep her head. You have to learn, right? You just learn. The whole point of playing teams like Chicago, who are just really, really good, they're big and they're smart and they're really serving well. I thought we passed much better as the set went on. And so the point of playing them is we'll be ready for a conference.
Yeah.
When you see hitters like that, you get in the conference, we've seen those kind of players. So
exactly.
That's really important for us to do that. I thought the home crowd was great. It was great to be home. I would have loved to close out, a couple of those sets. We had our chances. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
So to me, what that tells us, you get back in the gym. I told Ava Detweiler, how about your serve? You can come in and do a little extra serving. And, working on her block a little bit, some of the things. But she's amazing, and she did a great job. And I thought all around we played well. Katie Rowe is still recovering a little bit. You can tell maybe she wasn't quite herself tonight. I mean, if she's full steam, that maybe helps us be a little bit better. But that's life. That's the way it goes, So it's great to get some people back. It was good to see Ella out there. She hasn't played all year. So it's nice to start getting some of these kids back. And, it's great to be home. It's great to play a really good team. It's, the result's disappointing, but not the way we played.
Yeah.
Well, it was back and forth the entire night. All 3 sets were really, really close to the very end. So what do you tell your team for the future to be able to close out those sets?
Yeah, I think we just have to work on that last 5 points, right? What do you need to do there? You really have to dial it in. You really have to focus, but you have to be fearless. I've been kind of preaching that. You have to go for it, right? You can't hold back because you're not going to beat them by tipping or rolling, or you got to go for it. And if it goes your way, it goes your way. And we can't serve in the net, right? You got to, at 20s, your serve's got to be good. It's got to be good. You got to give your team a chance. And that's just practice, right? That's just practice. That's me putting them in tough situations in practice and hoping that, by doing that and playing tougher teams like that, we'll come through when we really need to here. So.
Well, I talked with Taylor the other day, and he said that serving was the main focus sort of in practice this week. So there were 7 aces tonight to 7 errors. Do you think you saw your improvement that you wanted to see?
Yeah, I'll take that any day. Any kind of, we're still ahead of the curve on the season so far, which is pretty amazing. So we have to be aggressive, and to think that we outblock them, they're huge.
Yeah.
They're 6'1", 6 foot, 5'11", 6 foot, and we outblock them. So that's, we outserved them and we outblocked them. Yeah. Our offense just wasn't as efficient. So we did what we needed to do. They were hitting 500 for a while, and we finally got them down into the 2s. But, we finally started blocking some balls. This just kind of kept going through us. But our offense needs to become a little more efficient to finish these games, right? You have to get those kills at the end.
Yeah.
So, and that's what it takes, or get those stops. So, a lot of really good things, like you said in the stat column, it just didn't end up in a win. When you play that close, it's going to be like that. So, I think we hit $150.
Yeah.
We just need to clean that up. We need to put a few more balls down.
Sure. Lake Forest Invitational, you got the Foresters, you got Benedictine.
Yep.
What's the thought process for this weekend?
Get everybody healthy. Hopefully Katie will feel good for the weekend. Just keep just keep doing the same things regardless of the opponent. Just keeping up, getting our freshmen more experience out there and the other girls on the team. And, then we come back and we play Concordia, and then we're a little bit of time off, and then we start in conference. So this was great. This was great tonight. We'll learn from it. You always learn from the tough ones like that.
Sure.
Right? And hopefully it'll bode well for us down the road.
Sounds good. Coach, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck this
All right,
weekend.
Appreciate you both.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Again, that was Coach Ulmer joining us on the postgame show on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. Jill, any takeaways from what Coach said here about the resolve of the team and just closing things up?
I mean, I think there's just a lot of positivity for this Carthage team going forward. I mean, she said, you know, on defense, they're all there, and they're a great team on defense. Just the offense that was a bit lacking, and they just need to go into practice each and every day this upcoming week and really focus on attacking and just being aggressive on offense.
Sounds good. Well, we want to thank all the production staff, the crew. It is great to be back here at Tarble. Not necessarily the result the home broadcasters would like, but nonetheless, for Mike Love, John Voinovich, Laura, Ty, Dan, and Matt, outstanding job to the student staff and crew. This program has been a presentation of Firebird Broadcast Productions and Carthage College. Copyright 2024. U Chicago 3, Carthage 0. We will be back home next Wednesday for Carthage women's volleyball. Again, once again, for Jill Ryczek, I'm Peter Ferreri. Have a good rest of your night, everybody.